Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jalen and today I have a 1,000 subscriber Q&A. Before we get into the questions, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone that has ever watched one of my videos, that has liked, subscribed, left comments. Just thank you so much. When I was initially thinking about starting a booktube channel, I was very nervous about it. I had been considering it for a few months, and then one day I was just like hanging out at my house and I realized like I want to do it, so I just got up and filmed a video, and that was my booktube newbie tag, which is kind of cringe now to watch. But yeah, I'm just so glad that I did. I've met so many great lifelong friends on here, which has been totally unexpected and amazing, and I'm just so glad I finally did it. So yeah, thank you all so much. I cannot wait to continue reading and sharing my thoughts on here. I just really appreciate all of you that watch and enjoy my videos and engage with me. It's just incredible. So thank you so much. Yeah, before we get into the questions as well, I will share what I'm drinking today. It is a drink called Ranch Water, which I just found at my local grocery store. And it looks like it's a hard seltzer with 100% agave, natural lime, and Rio Red grapefruit juice. So it's only 80 calories, 4%, so it's light. So yeah, let's see what it tastes like. Oh, it's pretty good. It's like a little subtly sweet too, which is interesting. Surprising that it's so low in calories, but I like it. It's good. I actually really like that. That's really delicious and easy to drink. I feel like these could sneak up on you, but at least that they're low calorie, right? So, okay, so I have a good list of questions here. Let's just get into it. I put them at random, so we'll see what happens. Okay, first question. Do you sleep with socks on? No, that is chaotic. Next question is, what has your channel taught you about your reading habits? And I think the number one biggest thing that my channel has taught me is that I cannot set like a strict TBR for myself, or I can't force myself to read something when I don't really want to read it at that time. I've tried to do like monthly TBRs or challenges, like a lot of videos that I love to watch, including like, for example, Grace from GK Read. She does this a lot. She'll have her followers pick books for her to read, or she'll like do themed vlogs in which she reads like an Aquarius for a week, for example. And that is something that I would so love to do. My brain just doesn't work that way. Like I have to be in the mood for a book. I'm a serious mood reader, and so that's just not my style of reading. Yeah, so that's one main thing that I've learned with this channel is I just read what I want when I want, and it's usually very random, day to day. I never know what I'm going to want to read next, so yeah, hence this disaster of bookshelves. But yeah. Next question is, do you like to read nonfiction? And I really do. I think my primary leaning is toward fiction. I find I naturally want to pick up those books. However, I do try to keep in mind that I should be reading more nonfiction, and some of my favorite books that I've read are nonfiction. And so yeah, I really want to read more of it. I need to make more of an intention to read it because I just naturally want to pick up fiction. However, I do like nonfiction and I want to incorporate it more into my regular reading. Yeah. So next question is favorite genre or era of literature. And I've only been like a very strong reader in the last like 2 years or so, and a lot of what I read is new releases in contemporary literary fiction. So I would say that that's my favorite. That's what I'm mostly drawn to. However, I still think that I'm in a very exploratory phase in my reading journey in terms of just trying different things. I'm kind of all over the place right now, but I really like the space that I'm in and just trying new things. And so yeah, I would say that I'm naturally drawn to like newer releases that are more contemporary, but I'm up for anything really. What's a favorite underrated book of yours, and what attracts you to the book or plot? And for this one, I keep saying it and I will keep saying it. It is Death in Her Hands by Ottessa Moshfegh. I still have yet to record my review of that one. I did do a reread last year in December of that book, and I absolutely adore it. And I want to dive into it more, but I looked on Goodreads and I think it has a 3.22, which is one of the lowest books on my Goodreads shelves that I've seen. And so I feel like that does not do the book justice, and I will be talking more about my thoughts on that book in an upcoming review. So keep an eye out for it if you're interested in it. Next, what is your zodiac sign? So I am a Scorpio Sun, Libra Moon, and Aquarius Rising, which I don't know what that really means. Lately I've been talking to some bookish friends on here about what that means, and it's really interesting when people get really into it and try to unpack it. I still don't know how I feel about astrology. CJ, don't come for me. She is very adamant that astrology is real, but yeah, it is fun nonetheless. Okay, 3 authors you love to go out for drinks with. And I spent a good amount of time thinking about this question. One, of course, Predictable Me, Ottessa Moshfegh. I want to sit down with her. And I'm actually, so right now in this video, I am manifesting that one day I will interview her on this channel or on Instagram Live or something. I am manifesting it. It must happen. Maybe like her next book release. Maybe I should reach out to the publisher. I'm talking to myself here. That would be so awesome. I'd be incredibly intimidated, but I would love to chat with her because I think she's brilliant and I need to pick her brain. Another author would be Samantha Irby because she is so funny and I just love her. I want to be friends with her. And the last one is Brian Washington. From his Instagram, he seems to be a pretty big foodie and beer lover, and that is me 100%. And so I think him and I would vibe heavily. Next question is, what is your favorite style of beer? And you know, in most of my videos, I'm always drinking an IPA. So I would say that is my favorite. I love a good, hazy, juicy IPA. A lot of local breweries here in Arizona are excellent at brewing IPAs. And so, yeah, love those. I'm also a big fan of sours. I don't really drink stouts or anything that too much, so I kind of stick to more lagers, IPAs, and sours. It's kind of like my jam. What has been your favorite video to film so far? And for this one, I think it would have to be my recent reading vlog in which I did a home tour, which was super fun to do. So yeah, I will link that below if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, really, I love my house so much, and it was just fun to go through it and kind of talk about it and the inspo and everything for it. So yeah, that was probably the most fun one so far. Okay, next question is favorite drag race queen. So I'm going to divide this into two parts. One, like who is my favorite drag queen generally from Drag Race. And I must say that is Miss Trixie Mattel. I'm obsessed with her show with Katya. I mean, it's a close tie between Trixie Mattel and Katya for their show on YouTube. That was one of like the saving graces for me of quarantine, is discovering that show like on a whim. I don't know how I haven't seen it in the previous years in which it's been out, but that show brings me immeasurable joy. Every time I rewatch it, I laugh. A lot of the things I say now like every day in my day-to-day life, and it's just ridiculous. But I'm obsessed with them, obsessed with that show, obsessed with everything. I don't know. And it got me into Drag Race now as I'm watching season 13. And so, favorite Drag Race queen on season 13, I would say, I think I'm gonna have to give it to Simone. I think she's incredible. Every single week, her looks are outstanding. Close tie with maybe Gottmik. I think they're both just killing it this season. It's incredible to see. I do think they're going to be top two. I'm kind of stuck between who I think is going to win, but I think maybe Gottmik is going to take it. But we'll see. I'm loving the season of Drag Race. Let me know who you're rooting for this season if you're watching it. And let me know your favorite drag queen overall. Because I need to watch like the old seasons. This is the only season I've ever watched. So yeah, let me know. Next question, is there a fictional literary character that you've related to the most? I can't think of a specific character, but I would say that anytime there's a book that involves like grad students, I find that I really relate to them because I went to law school and I spent most of my life in school. And so it's something I heavily relate to, and just kind of like the unsure feeling of being in grad school and determining what you're doing is that the right thing that you should be doing or not, and just kind of like that anxiety feeling in grad school. Definitely relate to that. And so yeah, any books that have had that in my reading, definitely relate. Next, how do you read so many books at once? How do I do it? I don't know how I do it. I try to not read things that are too similar to each other, because I have had a couple of instances in which some characters, they get kind of confusing for me determining which book they're coming from. And if they're too similar in genre, I don't like to do that. So I try to do like a fiction, a nonfiction, maybe a short story collection going all at the same time. So I kind of differentiate them from each other in my mind. But yeah, I don't know how I really do it. I think that's like the key to it, is not reading too similarly. And yeah, lately I have been kind of pulling back on that. I've been trying to read it like at most 3 books at one time, because last year I was reading like 6 books at a time and it was chaotic, and I don't recommend it. That's my biggest tip for reading many books at once. Someone asked to tell more about my dogs, and so my dogs are 2 Boston Terriers. They're named Cooper and Preston. Cooper is 12 and Preston is 11, and personality-wise, Preston, so right now he's blind in one eye for some reason that we were trying to figure out. But overall, he's so goofy and so cute. I love him so much. And Cooper, he's more uptight and opinionated, but he's so cute and handsome as well. They were Scott's dogs, and I inherited them through him, which has been awesome. So yeah, love them. I'll put a picture here if you haven't seen them yet, but they're cute. Okay, next question is, of all the characters you read in books, who would you least like to be roommates with, and which one would you most want to be roommates with? And this is a hard question for me because I read a lot of books with unlikable characters in them, so most of the books I read are people that I do not want to be roommates with. And I think maybe the biggest example of that would be Irina from Boy Parts, because 1, she is a bit of a mess, and 2, she might have some sinister plans for me, and so I would not want that to be the case. And for a character that I would most want to be roommates with, it was probably someone from Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, which has been everywhere. But yeah, all those characters are lovable, so I'll take it. And then, what's the biggest challenge you're currently facing in your life? I say for this one, getting more adjusted to like having a career and working. I've been, as I said earlier, a student for most of my life, and I've now been working for about 1.5 years, and it's just a different, way of living and thinking. And so yeah, that's just probably been the biggest challenge. I wouldn't say it's been too difficult, but I would say that that's been something that's been a big change for me and something I've had to adapt to especially in light of like doing all this book stuff. It's just been a big difference from before. And so yeah, I would say that's the biggest challenge. Next, who is the top sexiest booktuber named CJ? Hi CJ from CJ Reads. If you don't follow, go do it. Okay, what's your favorite indie bookstore and why? For this one, I have to say it's Powell's in Portland, Oregon. It is the world's largest independent bookstore, so that has that going for it. And just every single time, I'm just like in complete heaven being there. It's just every book lover's dream. If you haven't been there, once quarantine is over, and if you're able to, I would go there as soon as possible because it's just so incredible, amazing. But aside from that, I do love my local indie bookstore named Changing Hands. I go there all the time, way too much, and spend way too much money on books, but I just love the staff there, and I found so many great books there, and so I love it for that reason alone. Okay, you have to read 3 books on repeat for the rest of the year. What are you gonna choose? For this, I think I would go with I Hold the Wolf by the Ears by Laura Vandenberg for some short stories. You can get some, variety going in the rereads. 2, The Secret History, because I absolutely love that book and I want to reread it actually, so that'd be a good excuse to do that. And then maybe for the last one, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong for that beautiful prose that will never get old. Another question is Desert Island Meal, and also Hannah from Let's Talk About Books Baby wants to know Scott's. I think for both of us it would be pizza. I mean, the best, hands down, but for me a close second would be chicken strips and fries. Like that's my favorite. Could eat it every day, but I can't, unfortunately. Okay, last question is what am I currently reading? So the book is somewhere else, but I have the dust jacket. I'm reading A Swim in the Pond in the Rain by George Saunders, and dare I say, I think I have like 100 and something pages left of this, but I think this is gonna be my favorite nonfiction book of the year and maybe my favorite book of the year, purely because this book discusses the short story form, and he looks at a bunch of different classic Russian short stories from the likes of Leo Tolstoy and Anton Chekhov, and he basically gives you the story and then he goes into some essays and afterthoughts about why he thinks those stories work so well and gives advice on how to write short stories. And I mean, I'm not a writer myself, but this has helped me so much in determining why I love short stories so much and figuring out when stories work well or when they don't, or just, being able to really critically analyze them and figure out why stories are successful ultimately. And so I just think this book is so amazing. George Saunders writes with such warmth about the topic. You can tell he really cares, and he's a teacher at Syracuse University, and so he teaches creative writing, and he tells some anecdotes from his classes and everything, and so you can tell he is just a phenomenal teacher. And this book just feels like a gift. Like, you want to start getting into short stories, this is the perfect place to start, and if you do like them, this is another book to try out to figure out why you like them so much and learn how to read them even better. And even if you don't like short stories, I think maybe take a try at this one and see maybe if you approach them in a different way or think about them differently, you might find some more that you do like. And so, yeah, love this so much. Next, I am reading a short story collection called Kink. Has a bunch of heavy hitter authors here like Roxane Gay, Brandon Taylor, Alexander Chee, Carmen Maria Machado, etc. And this is really strong so far. I think I have like 2 or 3 stories left, but full of thoughts to come. And then finally, I just started the Copenhagen Trilogy by Tove Ditlevsen, and it's basically what I think is a memoir. It's a trilogy memoir in which she discusses her life growing up, and she eventually becomes a drug addict and has a pretty terrible husband, and you learn about her constantly yearning for more and wanting to be a poet. I'm very early on into it, but I'm already blown away by it, and I think it's going to be a 5-star read, so I guess we will see. But yeah, so that about wraps up the 1K Q&A. Again, thank you all so much for watching my videos, subscribing, anything involving this channel that is positive. Thank you so much. But yeah, until next time, cheers.